I said, Alonzo, we're going to have a baby. I looked at him. I know I smiled. His face looked as though it were plunging into water. I couldn't touch him. I wanted so to touch him. I smiled again and my hands got wet on the phone, and then for a moment I couldn't see him at all, and I shook my head and my face was wet, and I said, I'm glad. I'm glad. Don't you worry. I'm glad. But he was far away from me now, all by himself. I waited for him to come back. I could see it flash across his face. My baby? I knew he would think that. I don't mean that he doubted me, but a man thinks that. And for those few seconds while he was out there by himself, away from me, the baby was the only real thing in the world. More real than the prison, more real than me. I should have said already, we're not married. That means more to him than it does to me, but I understand how he feels. We were going to get married, but then he went to jail. Fonny is 22. I am 19. He asked the ridiculous question, Are you sure? No, I ain't sure. I'm just trying to mess with your mind. Then he grinned. He grinned because then he knew. What we gonna do? He asked me, just like a little boy. Well, we ain't gonna drown it, so I guess we'll have to raise it. Fonny threw back his head and laughed. He laughed till tears come down his face. So then I felt that the first part that I'd been so frightened of would be all right. Did you tell Frank? He asked me. Frank is his father. I said, Not yet. You tell your folks? Not yet, but don't worry about them. I just wanted to tell you first. Well, he said, I guess that makes sense. A baby. He looked at me, then he looked down. What you gonna do? For real? I'm gonna do just like I've been doing. I'll work up to just about the last month, and then Mama and Sis will take care for me. You ain't gotta worry. And anyway, we have you out of here before then. You sure about that? With his little smile. Of course I'm sure about that. I'm always sure about that. I knew what he was thinking, but I can't let myself think about it. Not now. Watching him, I must be sure. The man came up behind Fonny, and it was time to go. Fonny smiled and raised his fist, like always, and I raised mine, and he stood up. I'm always kind of surprised when I see him in here at how tall he is. Of course, he's lost weight, and that may make him seem taller. He turned around and went through the door, and the door closed behind him. I felt dizzy. I hadn't eaten much all day, and now it was getting late. I walked out to cross these big, wide corridors I've come to hate. Corridors wider than all the Sahara Desert. The Sahara is never empty. These corridors are never empty. If you cross the Sahara and you fall, by and by vultures circle around you, smelling, sensing your death. They circle lower and lower. They wait. They know. They know exactly when the flesh is ready, when the spirit cannot fight back. The poor are always crossing the Sahara, and the lawyers and bondsmen and all that crowd circle around the poor, exactly like vultures. Of course, they're not any richer than the poor, really. That's why they've turned into vultures, scavengers.